Greetings everybody, this is Serpentine451 and welcome back to another episode of Weeb Warriors. Now, since it's just going to be me this week, I'm going to make things really snappy, really short, really to the point here. I'm going to start off with Vinland Saga episode 22, and that was Lone Wolf. Essentially, we got a little bit more of Ashkelid's backstory in a little bit more detail, like the fact that he killed his father and his stepmother in that sense. Well, in a way to describe her, as a fit of revenge for what initially happened beforehand. Ashkelid's mother lost her mind and thought Olaf, his father, was King Arthur, or Arturius. But what prompted this little trip to memory lane for Ashkelid? Well, he pretty much told Thorfinn that his goal for revenge to reclaim his father's honor by killing his killer in a duel is pretty much a fantasy, mere child's play. Ashkelid points out, the best way to get your revenge on somebody, you take out the person you want to get revenge on. But Ashkelid sees purpose and usefulness out of Thorfinn, so he didn't kill him after winning this past duel that they had. And that's basically the episode. We got to see more of an exploration further into Ashkelid's backstory, even how he got his name, with his name meaning covered in ash, since he was a slave. And that's all I'm going to say for the review of this episode here. Still a very great episode. Now let's go to Welcome to Demon's Go Irma-kun. And in this episode, we focus on familiars. And this is more of an episode dedicated to Irma and Grump Sensei. I can't remember his name. I think it's Caligo. Yeah, Caligo. I'll just go with it. When a new teacher, who is an expert on familiars, but is the biggest airhead known to man, well, demon kind, I should say, and this dunderhead, this man, this idiot, trained him, studied for so long that he missed out on the first day, so he was ultimately late. But he still thought he could teach the students more about familiars, but Caligo put him in his place and said, hey, you are an idiot, thinking that, yeah, you could bond with your familiars, but you gotta understand that these are violent magical beasts that will kill things. It may not kill the master, but it will kill everything else around them. And apparently he gained a lot of respect towards Irma, because apparently Caligo misunderstood what Irma was trying to say, but apparently it still got him passing marks on that front. And this will lead into the next part of the story, where the upperclassmen will find first years to make them join their clubs. Still, the more human world stuff that the demons misinterpret, it's still comedy gold, still very hilarious. Then next up we'll have Oreski. And in this episode of Oreski, we are going to have a little bit more of a conflict. The first year that was initially joining the flower dance from previous episodes, Tanpopo, has her own goal in mind. She wants Pansy and Sunshine to hook up because it would motivate Sunshine to be the best baseball player there ever was, and will elevate her to the standing of greatest idol known to man. And Joro and Asano aren't really having that. But still, this particular episode actually had me dying. Fucking dying. And the nerve of this show to actually get a little bit serious again, to actually say, hey, we're gonna have this big plot revelation about, hey, the school library is gonna be closing. We already talked about it in the faculty meeting. There's nothing you can do about it. But still, untangling the web that was Tom Popo's plan, even when she was called Peen Popo. Hell yes, that was the funniest shit ever. And then this bitch was saying, those sons of bitches, I want their dicks to be bitten off. I'm like, whoa, honey, calm down. If you want to do a little bit of the sulk, then do it for yourself. I mean, goddamn. I mean, this girl, so conceited, so in her own ass, that she thinks that I will be the supreme being. Everyone will worship me, because I am a beautiful idol, an angel from on high. But still, very good. Very funny show still. Next up, My Hero Academia, episode 72, Red Riot. A little bit more into Kirishima's whole complex about using his powers. When he's going up against... When he and Fat Gum are separated from the others, pardon me, I got ahead of myself, and they face off against Barrier Bird and Rappa. Rappa was a sort of villain that says, hey, I want to fight, I want to be a badass. Nothing matters but the thrill of the fight. And Fat Gum did his best to just tank hits like a fucking champion. And Kirishima got badly injured while fighting Rappa. But after this internal struggle that he had with himself, going over his backstory a little bit more, and how his idol Crimson Riot was afraid too after an event that happened to him while he was a sidekick. And Kirishima remembered this moment, and then he decided, I am afraid, but I'm not gonna let that define me. And this is also where we meet a character that was first introduced here in the manga, but is more prevalent, well, appears later in the manga, and actually given a name, but I will not reveal that character's name later. Until much later, because when further parts of the manga get adapted, we'll know this character's name. But, on to Kirishima, he tanks a hit from Rappa, leaving Fat Gum, after storing all the punches that Rappa had dealt to him. He was going to unleash it onto these individuals. Rappa told his comrade to barrier him up from this blast. Well, Rappa didn't really say that, because he was getting thrilled to actually getting into this awesome fight, but Barrier Dude's like, no man, you're gonna die this is gonna be real quick. And that's essentially the episode. Great fight animation, great fight scenes, and a great exploration to another great character in Kirishima, delving more into his backstory. And that's what I love about shows like this, or just stuff in general. We get to explore characterization and explore these characters more in depth. That's what I love about My Hero, and that's what I love about all sorts of media that delves deep into characters and the way they interact with each other, or the histories that they've had, like I explained last week and such. But the one thing I can always say is that My Hero always just shines and excels at telling fun stories. And that's all I gotta say about that. Next up, let us go to... We Never Learn Season 2. In this episode, we have the school festival, and typical shenanigans will ensue, obviously. Mostly Ogata's class running an udon shop, Furuhashi's class putting on a production of Sleeping Beauty, and Urika's class putting on a Magical Girl Idol act. And we have a lot of screw-ups here. Ryuzu's father made too much udon, so they have to sell like mad. And Urika's costume for the Magical Girl Idol event for her class was misplaced, which also leads to Kirisu ending up dressing as a magical girl, because that was part of her initial little plot. And then you also have the whole ploy to make Fumino Sleeping Beauty and good old Nariyuki into the prince so they can actually kiss for real. Because that's the plan of her entire class. But the episode ends where we have Kirisu or Mafuyu pretty much on stage with the two swimming compatriots, ready to perform something in the Magical Girl outfits. And that's just fantastic. Good. Still a very good episode. I won't get into the bits with Nariyuki still struggling to figure out what he wants to do after he graduates. So after the festival, he will have Mafuyu give him another mock interview to see what he truly wants. Now that he has a timeline, a deadline I should say, he will actually be able to finally pick what he's going to major in. But since I read the manga, I already know what he's going to major in, so that's the fun part about that. Now finally, we will get to Dr. Stone, episode 24, where everyone actually completes the cell phone. Now that they have one, they didn't realize that they need to build two. But something interesting occurred. Due to one of the tales of Ishigami Village saying that within Stone, because apparently they got the phone to work, which lead to them developing the word. Just shocked and amazed. Everyone in the village is shocked and amazed by this. And Min, I think is her name, she explains that, hey, there is a tale that says that Speaker, a bee in the story, it stings a stone and you can hear the voices of your dead relatives, but Senku didn't really put two and two together at this point. Gin actually suggested that, hey, there may be a hidden meaning here, which Senku then realizes that his father's grave, or his gravestone, actually held a time capsule, and that time capsule was actually a recording of him and Lillian and a few other of the founding members of the village basically working together to give Senku words of encouragement or just to talk to him. That's what Byakuya pretty much did. But the last bit is to have Senku listen to Lillian sing, which caused a big bit of big emotions traveling through the village, bringing some of them to the verge of tears, which motivated them to actually want to make the second phone to try to give to Taiju and Yorizuha, which we saw them at the end of the episode, and the confirmation that we're getting a season 2 of Dr. Stone, which will be all about the Stone World. The Stone Wars arc. God, hard for me to speak sometimes. But anyway, that's essentially the reviews. Now, let us get to the soapbox discussion. Now, this time of year, much like last month, we share gifts with each other. And the one thing, since we're coming in close to Christmas, it will be here in... Give me 1 second, folks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. That leaves me with a few things to say. Every year, every year changes for me. And one thing I will say, that the winter anime this season may not look appealing to a lot of us, but there are a few things that we may enjoy. And I think maybe surprise is one of the best gifts anyone can give us. I know that may sound confusing, how I'm bringing about this discussion piece, but I decided, just have a little bit of fun here, when it comes to just fun surprises, be it as an anime or just whatever it may be. I'm surprised by a lot of shows that we pick to review that ultimately either have great quality or are just very painfully average or just god-awful. It made me feel uncomfortable. But there are times when, not even in anime, there have been shows like, for example, I love Super Sentai. It's one of the things that I enjoy, and surprisingly enough, a gift that I gave to myself for Christmas is the complete series of QQ Sentai Go-Go 5. And this was a gift that I was actually happy to receive, because I never really saw this Sentai. It's a Sentai that came out in the 90s. Like late 90s, early 2000s. And this is one of the great Sentai series that I will always enjoy. It became one of my favorites because, well, the family interactions, because all 5 members of this team are brothers and sister. And that's the beauty of it. And hopefully the winter season for Weeb Warriors will not be limited, I should say. We might actually find shows that surprise us, or that they may seem rather dull, and we may have this weird dry spell of a season, but that's okay. As long as there's gifts to be given, we will always have fun here on Weeb Warriors. And that's essentially it. Surprise will always be the main factor in reviewing things, or just watching things in general. And if you are fond of surprises, much like my fun-loving, energetic personality at times, you guys should click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you actually enjoyed some of the content here. And if you find it difficult to find, well, that's kind of my fault. I'm trying my best at just having fun with this YouTube game. And I will always enjoy having fun, regardless of that. Anyway, this has been Serpent451, and I'll catch you guys next time with another episode of Weeb Warriors.